Serious, guys of Reddit, why did you reject the pretty girl? Being pretty can only get you so far. Personality keeps it going. The girl I like is absolutely gorgeous, but her personality is what's keeping me so into her beyond how she looks. She's the only person I can have long conversations with. Now if only I was gorgeous and had a good personality. Cause her soul was a garbage can. You're gonna regret that when you're carrying an empty bag of Doritos for 40 minutes and not a trash can in sight. Because the first words out of her mouth were, "I smell coke on you." I was, in fact, not carrying coke at the time. In college I didn't make a move on a former homecoming queen who now is a Broadway actress. Despite her putting overt moves on me first. I'd like to say it's because I had my eyes set on the quirky artistic girl instead. It's true. I did choose to date that quirky art girl right afterward. But that wasn't it. I'd like to say it was because I found out the only reason she put the moves on me at all was because I'm a dead ringer for her ex-boyfriend. That was true also. But wasn't the reason. The reason I didn't reciprocate her moves was because I was chicken shit terrified and she was and still is so far out of my league I'd need an Amtrak ticket to get within a point. Sometimes it do be like that. I'd like the record to show that she is a delightful person and the whole "I look like her ex" thing, while kinda weird, was not really an indication of anything beyond her having a type, I suspect. Now she's with a totally cut actor dude. I am not a totally cut actor dude. I have a belly and tattoos and a mustache. I had a huge crush on this girl in high school. Tried hanging out with her for close to a year. Always hoping she would see me as something more than just a friend. When that didn't really work out, I decided to just go for it and I asked her to prom. She didn't say yes right away, but she did say yes. I quickly figured out that she was going to prom because she was excited to go to prom. Not because she wanted to go with me. I lost interest after that and started dating another girl. Interestingly enough, it was a girl that I danced with at that prom who told me while we were dancing that she really liked me. Your job is not that hard, all you do is carry food. Double quote. I apologized to the waitress. Paid. Left and left her there. Ironically. It's people like her that make waiting tables difficult. She was tapped. Despite being gorgeous, she was f-king psycho. A nice psycho where she would do anything for me, but psycho nonetheless. I found that some of the most loyal ones are also the most batshit crazy. It's weird. Being pretty is not everything. Not being toxic BTCH is more important. Another pretty girl beat her to it by several years. The first pretty girl became my wife. My friend commented on her when we walked through the door. He fixated on her immediately. Dude just would not stop staring at her. About an hour later she walked up and asked me to dance with her while his back was turned. I was stunned. But I'm also a good friend. So I told her it would really make my friend's night if she danced with him instead. They both danced while I silently kicked myself. This girl was prettier than anyone who's ever talked to me. And even though it was over 15 years ago, I still think about it today. I've dated a few gorgeous women in the past. Some lacked personality. The rest verged on psychosis. Literally picking fights if I talked to another female types. After a few of those I quit dating. Done. No hookups. No blind dates. Nothing. Then I met my wife. I was instantly, overwhelmingly attracted to her and I was terrified of how I felt about her. I spent the first year waiting for the other shoe to drop. Long story short. Been together 10 years. Married for 8.5. She's my better half. My best friend. And just the right amount of crazy to compliment me. She's perfect. She had no personality whatsoever. If you were trying to get to know her, she would be immature and laugh the question off. And she was dull in texts and on dates. It was like I was talking to a brick wall. If a girl doesn't have a personality, don't date her, fellows. Her personality was rotten. My friends thought I was crazy that I didn't at least tap it once, since I could have easily. But I was raised better than that. She gets taken advantage of enough from the rest of the world. I didn't want to give it any hope. Shame how someone's childhood can destroy a person even if they're gorgeous. I was already spoken for. She was dating my best friend. I didn't like her personality. I've turned down maybe a dozen pretty girls for one reason or another. Just because a girl's hot, it doesn't mean you throw your normal rules out the window. We were friends. Liked her. Asked her out. Got rejected. A year or so of puberty later. Apparently I was now handsome. And she asked me out. But in the interim I'd figured out she was lazy. Moochy. All take and no give. And her family was wide too religious. So I ended up shaking my head and saying, I don't think that's for the best. Double quote. Flash forward 10 years. Most recent conversation I had with her, she tried to convince me to pay her $50 in exchange for head. Last I heard she was having issues with drugs. Mostly just made me sad. Let me tell you about the girl I dated before I met my wife. We dated for 2 years. She was smoking hot and we had some similar interests, so it kind of clicked. She loved me. She wanted to be with me all the time. She wanted to keep other people away from me. I slowly drifted away from my circle of friends as she preferred to stay in rather than go out. For reasons I will never understand. She was constantly worried that my friends' girlfriends were interested in me. They were not. She thought my male friends were shallow. So over time my wide circle of friends became of only her. She did not like my family at all. She thought they were always judging her and somehow scheming various things secretly behind her back. They were not. In the end I chose my friends and family over her. Because they are part of who I am, and if she could not accept them, how could she love the person I really am? She was very unstable and she told me she was engaged after we had sex. The last girl before my wife, we broke up because I was a cuddler and she was not. Completely understandable, and there was no acrimony on either side. But physical contact is one of my love languages and is very important to me. She misunderstood I like to read as I'm wealthy and tried asking for expensive things. I'm a man, not a wallet. She was my cousin. And was attracted to me for whatever reason. And as attractive as she was, I love my family enough to keep life uncomplicated. She was only with me because she couldn't get someone else. Great way to start the school year. Am I right? When I was in high school, one of the hottest girls jumped into my arms, kissed me, and asked me to be her boyfriend. I thought it was a joke and said no. I rejected her because I was an oblivious idiot. To all the teens that may be reading this, shoot your shot. If a girl or boy you like is paying attention to you and you catch a vibe, stop thinking and go for it. I'm a lesbian and I've rejected the pretty girl because she was straight but curious, and I'm sick of that shit. She was batshit crazy. I was shy. She had a bimbo fetish and that was an instant turn off. Polyamory drama. She smoked and I'm allergic. Too far outside my age range or didn't have anything in common. My current partner is way better than any of them and I don't feel the need for anyone extra. First date. She spent the entire time gossiping about a bunch of people, including a good friend of mine. In the course of one date, she went from the hottest girl in my mind to a slightly repulsive girl. I'm not sure if that counts as rejecting, but I avoided like the plague after that. She certainly seemed into me, but I wasn't interested. We were completely opposites. I was a reserved person and she was an extrovert. I felt like it wouldn't value her choices. Well, in a way I did not, but I never told her. Mind you, we were good friends. This was almost 6 years ago. Edit. I knew I would be bad for her cause. I would restrict her and I did not want to be that person. She was a gorgeous woman. Born in Houston. Raised in GB in Holland. Auburn hair. Green eyes. Spoke 6 languages. Just didn't have a lick of common sense. She's a pretty attractive actress. She appeared on a few NBC shows. And I always wanted to work with her. She just wanted to fuck. Long story. She just got out of a 4-year relationship and wasn't looking to settle down again. We took a liking to each other and I wanted to try to pursue something because we had a decent amount in common and I could see us being a cool couple. I just wasn't interested in being her FCK buddy while she also pursued other guys on the side, which she was very open about. She wanted to spend more time with me and I guess I could have toughed it out and showed her that I was the guy for her, etc. But I just didn't care to. I was looking to settle down and not play that emotional game. Because I was too afraid to say yes when she asked me to dance. Just a pretty girl in a bar saw me standing against the wall by myself and invited me into the floor with her hips. Too nervous about looking like a fool dancing to accept. Stupid. But in the interim, I met my now wife, way hotter emo, and we just had a baby. So things worked out. Not sure. The woman I married is my pretty girl. Maybe not everyone would agree. Maybe some would. Either way, she's a fighty tomboy with big ol' brown eyes. That makes me laugh. And hell if that isn't the best damn thing ever. I didn't. She told me during sex she wanted to cheat on me with my best friend. Then she left. And did just that. I lost 2 friends. Pretty doesn't mean shit. Because I find most pretty girls expect you to make every move. I come from a place of trauma in my relationships and so I will not ever make the first move unless I'm absolutely certain they're into me. And besides, most pretty girls, in my experience, never talk to you unless you talk to them. I won't ever pamper someone just for some pussy. Just didn't see us together in the long run. We were both busy people so I cut off short whatever relationship we may have had. But I've since realized that in life you are always busy and you part ways with everyone eventually. So the best way to live is to enjoy each other's company while you can. Well, what's the personality like? Even roses look beautiful but are covered in thorns. Looking nice doesn't mean that they act nice or are nice to be around. I knew she was asking on a dare. This was confirmed when she said I only asked you for a dare anyway. To which I responded, feel free to ask me again when it's not a dare and I'll consider it. She never asked again. I was treated poorly many times because of my looks. Women would try to exclude or attract me and men seemed to only want to see me as something to wanna FCK, and oftentimes after speaking human to human and discovery that I had feelings and a soul, intelligence and a sense of humor, quite a lot of people seemed uncomfortable. I think that people want to think of people as stereotypes such as the pretty girl because it allows for them to treat them some certain type of way that in reality is not acceptable. Because I was a damn fool. It was late middle school. I was already doing the baby's first girlfriend thing. And she didn't know how to express interest besides prying. She was better looking, more intelligent, more articulate. And rather than figuring out, hey, she's making you uncomfortable because she's into you, I got hung up on the making you uncomfortable part and told her to back off. I haven't seen that girl in over 25 years. And on the rare occasion it comes up, I still wish I could apologize. She kept leading me on by asking me to hang out under unrealistic circumstances, like calling texting when both of us were drunk at 2 AM. I was also talking to some other more relatable and easily accessible girls at the time. She was also a low-key Trump supporter. So basically, I told her now. So this girl from our school has by far all the best features and liked by everyone and she's totally cool to meet, but one day she wanted to spend time with me because she felt like we don't talk enough, so she set up a time of when we should meet. I should also tell you there's been a series of murders happening in my town for the past few days. There was a specific area where they were killed and it was the place we had set up. 2 days until we got to meet up, but the more I hanged around her the more she felt like she needed to be closer and more personal. Later on I couldn't go through with it and I told her that I was going to California. OFC I wasn't really. We never made contact again, but she went missing maybe around 6 or 8 months later after a dead body was found where we originally made for our time together. The reason is invariably the same. They oftentimes have shitty, entitled personalities and low motivation because they are so used to getting things done for them. I've dated exceptions. but that's generally my experience. I had a thing for this girl for a long time. We had a lot of fun. Enjoyed each other's company. Got along and were friends for a while before we got together. There was a period of time where we weren't around each other for about a year or so. We got together shortly after this period and started going out. We went on a date and were talking about things. She told me during that year or so we weren't around that she picked up smoking. I remember feeling so let down and disappointed. It was a major turn off for me. I had a thing for her for 10 years at least. Some may think it is shallow, but smoking is something I can't stand. I tried for a while to deal with it, but to me it was something that was constantly in my mind and I couldn't get over.